Let's start here. What's your initial reaction to the news that this case has now been closed without a suspect?
Well, it shocks me. And, I'm a big fan of the Secret Service, obviously, but most proud time of my life was being in the Secret Service. But I am dumbfounded how after a week and a half, you've got cocaine there, which initially it's important, and I think the congressman alluded to this. They first thought it was anthrax. They evacuated the entire White House, and now, a week and a half later, we can't find anybody. I find that difficult to believe. I think the investigative process itself, having done many, many complex investigations as a Secret Service agent, that it seems to me there were some steps missed. The thing that is most concerning to me is when you close an investigation, you're kind of brushing your hands and saying, let's move on. There's nothing to see here. And in my mind, there's a lot to see. Now, I've heard that they're going to have enhanced security measures and all that. But I tell you, I've been in and out of that building 100 times. And I would be very, very surprised if there's not a clear process that can be followed to identify, like talking to people. That's a key thing that investigators do, is interview people. Right. So it's perplexing.
Tim, you gave me a big old onion to unpeel, so I'll start with the point that you made about you think that some investigative steps may have been missed or skipped. What are those specific investigative tips that you think probably have been set to the side then in all of this?
Well, the first thing we want to do is establish the time parameter. And remember, this was discovered by the Secret Service during the normal course of their rounds, which is very common in that area. So once you identify when it was found, then you can begin to narrow down the time frame for when it could have been placed there. And the fact that the evidence was collected, it was appropriately sent to the lab, it was reviewed, it was identified as cocaine. Those are all good things. But then the next logical step begins to be, hey, who was in that area at the time? Can we narrow down the time frame? And then we begin the process of doing interviews. We do this routinely for every kind of investigation we do, with counterfeit, with fraud. All the investigative steps are needed because, remember, the goal ultimately is to present it to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. for prosecution.